All right, fine folks, let's go ahead and look at this assignment. We're still dealing with scientific notation. So you were assigned the odds, so I'm going to look at some of the evens to try to make sure that you have some examples to work through. Let's look at number 2, changing it to scientific notation. Number 2, right here's the decimal. I need to move it to right here. So I know that my coefficient, I'm going to have 6.1, but I'm going to have to move my decimal 1, 2, 3. So that means I'm going to have times 10 to the third power. Okay, I'm going to also look at number 6 in this section. Okay, number 2 is an example of a big number. Number 6 is an example of a little number. I know that I'm going to move my decimal right there between the 5 and 6 so that my number is bigger than 1, less than 10. So that's going to leave me with 5.6. Now I've got to see how many times I have to move my decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That tells me that I need to go 10 to the negative 8 because little numbers have a negative exponent. Next section, writing the numbers in standard form this time. Okay, let's look at number 8. Okay, so my number is 5.26 times 10 to the negative 13. That negative 13 tells me that it is a little number. So I'm going to have to be moving the decimal to the left. Okay, so right there's my decimal. If I move it to the left 1, that gets it around that 5, but I still need to move it more times. I have to move it 13 total. So I've already moved it 1. That means I need to move it 12 more. So I'm going to put zeros in those spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the decimal will go right there. Okay, so I'm going to still put my 526. So our answer, okay, I have those 12 zeros, 526. Okay, so a tiny, tiny little number for number 8. Let's look at number 12. Number 12 is an example of a big number because it has a positive exponent. So I'm going to move the decimal to the right. Now when I look at this and I go 1, 2, okay, I've already taken care of 2 of the moves. I need 8 total. So when I have 7, 4, 5, I've already taken care of 2. There's 1, 2. I need a total of 8. So that means I need 6 more. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, really large number. So I need to put in my commas. So 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma. So there is our number. We have 745 million. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at this next section. So we are finding the product. That means that we are multiplying. Now in this case, really the best way to be able to find the answer to these is just straight multiplication using your calculator. Okay, as a reminder with your calculator. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clear my screen so I have those extra marks gone. Okay, but when we have our calculator, it's in normal mode right now. I want to hit mode. I want to move down to scientific. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, and now it's in scientific mode, and I can even tell that by this SCI that is on the screen. So let's look at number 14. Okay, so number 14, I'm going to just put it straight in. 8 times 10. I'm going to go house top 3. I've got an arrow over, close the parentheses. Okay, open parentheses. 2 times 10. House top for the exponent to the 4th power. Arrow over to get out of the exponent. Close parentheses. Hit enter, and there is my answer. So for number 14, okay, the answer is 1.6 times 10 to the 8th power. Okay, so let's go ahead and also look at number 16. All right, so parentheses, 3.6 times 10 to the 9th, arrow over, close parentheses, parentheses 8.4 times 10 to the 7th, arrow over, close parentheses, enter. And so there's an answer for number 16. So for number 16, 3.024 times 10 to the 17th. And so that is how we're multiplying. Now, we can follow our rules and be able to do that, but most of the time you can simply use your calculator to multiply with scientific notation. Now, let's go ahead and look at the next set of problems that we have here. Okay, number 17, you have this number. It's in scientific notation. It's telling you to write it in standard form. Number 18, you have a really large number, and it is telling you to write it in scientific notation. Let's look at the next set of problems. So we're comparing numbers that are in scientific notation. So let's look at number 20, okay? Number 20, I have two very, very little numbers. Our coefficient is exactly the same. And if I think about what's happening with my number, I know that this decimal is going to have to move 6 spaces to the left, making my number even smaller. Okay, so if I move it 1 there, then I've got to move it 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, looking at it over here, I have 3, 0, 0, 8. Okay, I've got to move it over 7. So right there was 1. Then I've got to move it 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so when I look at this number and I'm looking at my place value and I'm going over, okay, this number 6 place values over. This number 7 place values over. That means that this one is larger, okay? Because the closer to the decimal that I get when I'm talking about my little pieces, my parts, then the closer, the bigger it is, okay? So I don't have to write out my numbers like this. I could just look at my exponent and say which exponent is larger. That number is larger when the coefficient is the same. So let's look at number 22. Okay, number 22, my coefficients aren't exactly identical. I'm going to need to move my decimal over 1 spot and make that 0. I'm sorry, not 0. I'm going to have to make it 7.6. And when I do that, okay, I had to move it over 1. So that would be a plus 1. So that is 7 times 10 to the negative 6 power. So again, I can look at my exponents and see which exponent is the largest, and that's going to give me the largest answer. So with that one, okay, it's going to be less than, okay? So that lets us know that this number is the biggest one. Okay, let's look at the next set of problems, okay? Writing the product or quotient. Now, I've already gone through a couple of them with the product, so I'm going to look at a couple with the quotient. Remember, product is with multiply, quotient is with divide, okay? So let's look at number 28. Okay, number 28, we're going to divide, okay? Again, we're going to use our calculator to be able to help us out with our division with scientific notation. Okay, I've already got my calculator in scientific notation mode. Okay, I'm going to use my fraction button, N over D, and then I'm going to just put it in. Okay, 1.19 times 10 to the 13th. Okay, one arrow down, 1.4 times 10 to the 7th. Okay, enter. And that lets me know that this answer is 8.5 times 10 to the 5th. Okay, so division, use the N over D button and then just carefully enter in your numbers into your calculator to divide.